everyone, Pitch01 here. This is a tutorial on how to get onto the new Brawl Wi-Fi servers without modding your Wii. So this does not require homebrew channel, does not require any other kind of soft mods. All you need is an SD card and a copy of Brawl on a disc. And of course, a Wii. So since Nintendo officially shut down Wi-Fi support, connecting to this third-party server is the only way to get your Wii online to keep playing Brawl. I'll be covering two methods in this tutorial, and both methods will launch an application that will allow you to apply codes to the game, but they will not actually make any changes to your disc or your Wii, and they'll only last for as long as you have it turned on. And that means that you need to do these steps every single time you want to play Wi-Fi if you don't want to install the homebrew channel. The two applications are called Gecko and Riivolution. I personally prefer Riivolution just because you can do more stuff with it, but either one will work just fine. I'm not going to be covering homebrew channel installation in this guide, but if you do have the homebrew channel installed, Riivolution can use larger SD cards than Gecko can, which is a very good thing because Gecko can only accept up to 2 GB SD cards, and those are getting harder and harder to find nowadays. I know that Best Buy, Future Shop, and The Source, they don't stock 2 GB SD cards anymore. Their minimum is 4. I had to go to Black's Photography today to get a 2 GB SD card, and sure enough, they don't actually even make those 2 GB SD cards anymore. They're just selling all the ones they have left. So they won't be available in stores for much longer, so they're getting rarer, but you can also buy them off of eBay or Amazon if you don't mind waiting. The Hackless method that I'm about to show you also unfortunately requires a 2 GB or less memory card, I think. So if you want to use a bigger SD card, you're going to have to hack your Wii. I may be wrong on that, so feel free to try it out for yourself, but a 2 GB SD card will always work. But anyway, let's get to the tutorial. I'm going to start with the Gecko method. This is the simplest method that most people prefer, and it's assuming that you don't actually have any other hacks and modifications you'd like to apply, that you've really never done anything like this before. So just follow these steps. It's very, very easy. The first thing you have to do is to download the Hackless Gecko Wi-Fi file that I'm hosting on my Dropbox, which is this link here in Notepad. I'm just going to copy and paste this into Google Chrome. So if I copy this into Chrome and I download it, it just downloads automatically. I open up this file here, and everything you see here in the zip file, you're just going to copy right onto the root of your SD card. So I'm going to open up my SD card, which is my K drive here. Oh, I already have stuff on it, so let me just delete that. I was testing out Riivolution earlier. So I'm just going to copy all these files right onto my SD card. It just only takes a couple seconds. And once you've done that, your SD card is good to go. You can just eject it and put it into your Wii. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is just boot up your Wii. Make sure your SD card is in your Wii. Wait for it to load your disc. There we go, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Just load the disc. Now we're going to wait a few minutes for this to load, but while I'm loading, I will tell you to be absolutely certain that you do not have any custom stages on your copy of Brawl. If you want to keep custom stages and also use Wi-Fi, you're going to have to hack your Wii and install Homebrew because the Hackless launcher uses an exploit through the stage vaults. So you cannot have any custom stages at the same time you use the Hackless launcher. So now that it's loaded, we are going to go into the vault. Oh, my Wiimote just died. Let me grab another one. Okay, sorry about that. So we're going to go into the vault and go into the stage builder. This is completely normal. If you see all this green crap on your screen, it's totally normal. Just wait for it to launch this screen which says Gecko version 1.9. That's totally fine. Just click on launch game. You don't have to do anything else. Setting up drive, that's just making it launch all the codes onto your disk. Now remember that this is not actually going to modify your disk in any way, it's just launching the image that your Wii has read off your disk, which will not last when you turn your Wii off. It'll be totally like nothing has ever happened. So as you can see, it's relaunching Brawl. This is exactly what we want it to do because it is relaunching Brawl with some codes applied to it that will help us get online. So now we can go to our Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, which is really not Nintendo Wi-Fi connection anymore, but you get the idea. Connecting to Nintendo WFC. If you registered your friend code before May 20th, you should have no problem getting online right now. I registered my friend code, so as you can see, I was just able to connect to a server. And for the record, I recorded this on June the 4th, so this is long after Nintendo Wi-Fi shut down, at least 2 weeks. I can get online, I can create a room, I can do whatever. It's just like as if Wi-Fi has never gone down. What else? Yeah, so this method should work for NTSC, PAL, and Japanese disks, since my zip file contains codes for all of them. And it'll only apply codes for whatever region it sees your disk as being from. Since mine is from NTSC, it applied the NTSC codes. If my disk was Japanese, it would have applied the Japanese codes. Basically, I have all your bases covered. So next up, I'm going to cover the basic Riivolution method. It works fairly similar to how Gecko works, except if you already have Riivolution with some other modifications, it's generally a bit more powerful than Gecko is in terms of what you can do with it. So once again, I have this basic set of Wi-Fi hacks available, which is available on my Dropbox as well. The link is provided at the bottom of the video. Just copy and paste this link into Chrome, and it will automatically start downloading the Hackless Wi-Fi Riivolution file. So once again, you can just copy the contents of this SD card onto your copy the contents of the zip onto your SD card. Sorry, I'm getting very tired. Just drag and drop it into your SD and wait for it to copy over. And that's all you have to do on the computer side of things. Just grab your SD card and put it in your Wii. Okay, so next up we're just gonna test this on the Wii itself. I actually don't have a dead Wiimote this time, which is great. Go up to Super Smashboards Brawl once again. It's almost exactly the same as launching it through the Gecko method. It's really just a matter of personal preference in terms of whether you use Gecko or Riivolution. If you don't care about modding anything else in Brawl and you just want to get online, it really makes no difference which one you use. They work the exact same for that purpose. Once again, with the Riivolution method, you cannot have any custom stages on your Wii if you're using the Hackless method. Please make sure that there are no custom stages on your Wii whatsoever, otherwise your Wii will crash when you try to do this. So once again, we are just going to go into the vault and go to our stage builder. Sometimes it will mess up and it will just display it as a custom stage that's waiting forever to load. That's a glitch, and if it happens, just reset your title. Just reset the title, like go to the Wii menu, or actually even I would recommend turning off the Wii if that happens. This has happened to me about 2 times when I was trying to make this tutorial. Actually, it happens fairly often, so it's kind of annoying. I would really recommend installing the homebrew channel. But if you don't want to install the homebrew channel, that's your choice. I'm just going to reboot my Wii and try it again. Generally, if that happens, all you really have to do is give it another shot. Oh, crap, wrong channel. Okay. Okay, so let's try that again. Unfortunately, I don't know of a way to get it to work every single time and have it always read as the homebrew channel sorry, not homebrew channel, have it read as Riivolution instead of a custom stage. So sometimes you just have to keep trying until it loads. It could be a bit of a nuisance, especially if your Wii is like mine and it sometimes crashes when you try to exit to the home menu, but I don't think that's a regular thing with everyone's Wiis. I think that's just mine being old. Okay, let's try that again. And there we go. All I had to do was reset the Wii, so there's really no kind of rhyme or reason to it. If you have that problem, then just load it up again. You can see the Riivolution screen here. Riivolution version 1.04 is fine. Just give it a few seconds to load your disk and see what kind of mods you have installed for it. Riivolution will work with any kind of with pretty much any Wii game. Actually, you can modify any Wii game you want with Riivolution. A lot of people use it for Mario Kart 8 since Mario Kart 8 does not have Gecko support. You're going to get a screen that looks like this that says textures, code set, custom music, sound effects, etc., etc. All you really have to worry about is make sure that your code set says custom set number 1, and everything else you don't really have to worry about. Like, there's no custom music, no sound effects, no movies, no movesets, no textures whatsoever in this zip file that I put up, so don't worry about any of this. Just make sure that code set says custom set number 1. Don't worry about the install button, just press launch right here. And it's going to do pretty much the same thing that our Gecko method did. It's just taking the exact same code and applying it to your file, and it will only apply it to your disk for as long as your Wii is turned on. Once you turn it off, it's back to normal as if you'd never done this in any respect. Okay, now that our file is loaded, we can just try to get on Wi-Fi once again. If you made the May 20th cutoff, you should be able to get online just fine. It says connecting to Nintendo WFC, but that's just the system message. It's not actually Nintendo's server, it is a third-party server. And we have just modified our game to be able to connect to it. And I was able to connect just fine. Basic Brawl doesn't really work for NTSC right now, but with friends, friend roster, everything is totally in place. Because once you saved your friend code, you also saved your friend roster. And I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's the Riivolution method. Whether you use Gecko or Riivolution, once again, is a matter of personal preference. It's up to you. Riivolution is generally better if you plan on adding more stuff to it in the future, but either one will work just fine. So yeah, that's about it. If I'm going to get into now something that's a little more complicated, is that if you already use Gecko or Riivolution through Homebrew, or if you use a Hackless launcher, or if you run codes through USB Loader GX or CFG or WiiFlow, and you want to add this Wi-Fi code to a code set you already have, then you have to edit your GCT file, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but I will show you how to do it. So, if you want to edit your GCT file, and by that I mean if you want to put the Wi-Fi code into a GCT code file that you already have, you will need definitely the code manager program here, and possibly the GCT to TXT converter program, both of which are available in the video description. I have them open in Notepad here. Code Manager is a program for creating code files, but unfortunately it cannot open code files that have already been created. It cannot open GCT files. It can only read from text files, like this one, rsbeo1.txt. Your Wii can't actually apply a TXT file to your disk. It can only apply a GCT file. But you kind of need both of the files if you want to be able to use them and also edit them in the future. It just makes it a whole lot easier. If you don't have a text version of your code file, then that makes things a little more complicated. You can use GCT to TXT, this program here, to create a TXT file for your code file. For example, I'll do it for a GCT file that I already have. So I'm going to load up GCT to TXT converter, and I'm going to open up my standard GCT file that I usually use for Brawl Wi-Fi. This is just a random folder on my desktop. I'm not actually using an SD card to do this part of the tutorial because it's pretty universal. My code file is here. See this rsbe01.gct file? If you already have a card like this in your SD card and you don't have a corresponding rsbe01.txt or rsbp, rsbj, whatever region you're from, then open up this GCT file and it will import all the codes into one big huge long list. Then what you're going to do is click save and just call it rsbe01.txt. So that's all you need to do to convert it to a text file. You need to convert it to a text file so that you can actually add the Wi-Fi code to it afterwards. Next thing you're going to do is open up Code Manager. Go to Open TXT file. Note how there's no Open GCT file because it can't do that. It can only save GCT files. I'm going to go back to where I saved my freaking code. It's under Custom 1. Here's the file I just made, rsbe01.txt. That's the file that I just made in GCT to TXT converter. I'm going to open it. Now what you'll notice here is that no matter how organized your codes were before, they will all just get put into one big long string of hex called recovered codes. Because GCT to TXT does not actually differentiate between your codes, it does not save any comments or titles or anything, it just puts them all together as one big huge long code. Which is fine, it'll work, but it's really annoying for you if you have like 20 different codes that you like to be able to turn on or off on a whim. So when you're saving a GCT file for your Wii, always, always, always also save a TXT file. It will make your life so much easier in the future. If you already had a TXT version of your codes, then it will be a lot easier for you. Either way, adding the Wi-Fi code is the exact same. I'm just explaining this part to you to make your life a lot easier if you want to be able to manage your codes better in the future. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to open my standard TXT file that I usually use. It can actually be called whatever you want. Mine just called Riivo4. So here is a list of the codes that I usually use when I'm launching Brawl. I'm going to add the Wi-Fi code to this. You can find that code inside the guide I made on Smashboards. The guide to connecting to Brawl Wi-Fi post WFC shutdown. The link is in the video. I change the title once in a while, but this link will always work. This is my thread here. If you scroll down to step 2, I have this code scattered all over the place. It can be found in a couple of different sections. Here's the code right here. This was made by Diddy Kong and Dr. Kirby. Shoutouts to those guys. They're awesome, from KCMM. You can copy and paste the title if you like. That'll make it a lot easier for you when you're trying to manage your codes. In Ocarina Cheat Code Manager, you're going to hit add a code /comment/category. It'll prompt you for a name. You can just please put that name in there. It's very important to give credits to the people that made these codes. Double click on it and copy and paste the entire contents of the codes, all these hex values right here, right from the start to the end, and paste it inside code contents. The code comment is not really that important. You don't really have to do much with it. But anyway, once that's done, you can click on any other one of your codes you want. It'll prompt you to save the code that you just pasted. I'll click yes. You don't really have to do this, but it's a good thing to do. Just to make absolute sure that it is saving your code. Check it off so you can be sure that it will be exported to your GCT. So first things first, always save as a TXT file. Make sure you always save as a TXT file. Normally people save it as rsbe01.txt. I saved mine as Riivo4. It doesn't matter. The TXT file can be called whatever you want. Usually you call RSBE01 just so it's easier to remember that it goes with your Brawl file, because your GCT file will always be called RSBE01.gct. I'm just going to call it Riivo4 just because that's my standard for my SD card. I will hit save. So now that my TXT file has been saved, I can also export to GCT. Oh, here we go. More than 256 lines of code are active. Please select less codes. This is a problem that I thought was going to come up, but I wasn't entirely sure. Because I apply a lot of different codes to my standard hack set for Brawl, which has my crazy 16-bit CSS and everything. Your Ocarina cheat codes can generally not exceed 256 lines. That means that if you want to use Riivolution to get online, you can't have very many codes. The ones I would recommend having are things like unrestricted replays, save tags in replays. Those are really the most important ones. If you're using Gecko, then you cannot use the file patch code and the Wi-Fi patch code at the same time, because it will exceed 256 lines of code. So that means if you use the Wi-Fi code, you can't have any custom textures, any custom music, any custom anything. You can only have the Wi-Fi code and some other codes like unrestricted pause camera, long replays, etc., etc. That's really unfortunate. But what I would normally do here is just deselect all my other codes, and then it would just export the GCT like it normally does. So I'm gonna try maybe getting rid of my volume code. That's a big huge long one. Export to GCT. I'm gonna store it to a file on my desktop just because I don't want to overwrite my code. rsbe01.gct. Save. And there we have it. On my desktop, it made my code here. You would just you would put it on your SD card wherever your code file is currently stored in. It will just overwrite whatever code file you had before with the new one that has the Wi-Fi in it. So that's how you would apply the Wi-Fi code to something that you already have, if you already have codes that you use on your Wii to get online, etc. If you don't already use codes, then don't worry about any of this. Just use one of the two hackless methods from the starter tutorial. So that's it. If you have any more questions, just feel free to post on my Smashboards thread. I check it more often than I check YouTube. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in my next tutorial.